Welcome to the Saucy Scribes podcast.
I'm Alex, your resident book psycho.
I'm Ashley, your crystal-loving cat lady.
And I'm Allie, your aspiring author.
Welcome to the deep dive of chapters 21 through 28 of Fourth Wing.
Woo!
Woo! Each week, as promised, we've concocted a cocktail that best captures this stretch of chapters. If you're new to Saucy Scribes Pod, you can find our weekly cocktail every Monday on our Instagram. Does everyone have their enemies to lovers?
Mm-hmm.
She should have known better, but Churum makes everything feel like a good idea. This kiss? Reckless. Inevitable. Electric. She hated him until she didn't. He's dangerous, but she doesn't care. This cocktail captures that heat. Chili-infused honey for the slow burn, pomegranate for the tension, gin for the edge, and Prosecco because nothing good ever happens after just one drink. It's bold, it's intoxicating, it does not ask for permission. Just like that kiss. As Xaden says himself, fuck it, and cheers!
Cheers. Oh my gosh. Hi, this is Ashley speaking for those of you only listening. I have started back in rehearsals at Moulin Rouge, and so I am going to be taking it a little bit easy on the alcohol intake as we're recording these podcasts at different hours of the day. But let me tell you, I've never been more upset that I'm not going to be drinking a drink than this one. It sounds so good. It sounds so good. Anyway,
Yes.
I just wanted to say that I'm drinking with you guys in spirit today.
Yes, protect your voice.
Yes.
In spirits.
In spirits. I'm drinking in spirits with you.
Our Patreon is officially live. If you love the show, consider becoming a first-year scribe for just $5 a month. You'll get early access to ad-free episodes, a digital cocktail booklet for each book we cover, and an exclusive printable dust sleeve designed to mimic the look of vintage leather-bound books, perfect for dressing up your romantasy shelf. This membership is a way to support the show and help us continue bringing this magical, messy, and swoony content to life. And if you've got a moment, we'd love if you rated and reviewed the podcast wherever you are listening.
Before we dive in, we need to give a spoiler warning. We will be discussing the entire series, including any extra POV chapters in the re-releases and anything Rebecca Yarros has said in interviews. If we reference another series spoiler, we will give a spoiler sound in the episode so you can skip ahead.
And lastly, a quick heads up from your Saucy Scribes. The fantasy romance world is full of magic and mayhem, but it also doesn't shy away from heavy themes. That means the books we cover may include emotional trauma, violence, or mature content that could be upsetting. For this particular book, Rebecca Yarros gives her own trigger warning, which you can read right before the maps in the book. So consider this your cozy but clear blanket trigger warning. Feel free to step away if needed. Your well-being comes first, always. All right, scribes, let's get into it.
And now it's time for our favorite chaotic recap, where we try to summarize 8 chapters of mayhem and morally gray flirting without spiraling into a full-blown theory rant. Today, we're diving into Fourth Wing chapters 21 through 28, aka Dragons Get Opinionated, Dain gets even more annoying, and Violet gets one step closer to making terrible, spicy decisions. Buckle up because things are heating up on the battlefield and in the barracks. Let's break it down. We kick things off with Violet being assigned a personal bodyguard from Xaden. Enter Liam Mari, rebellion baby and dimple-wearing flirt. While doing archive duty, Violet and Liam stumble onto a not actually marked classified scroll about wards failing. Again, casual. We also casually get to watch Xaden and Garrick spar half naked. Just imagining it has us all hot and bothered, let alone when we get to see it IRL when the TV show finally premieres. But despite Violet being distracted by Xaden's hot bod, she keeps her temper in check when Jack tries to ignite her fury and the dragons decide it's time for her to channel. But that's not all Taryn starts channeling. Violet is overwhelmed with lust for Liam. Wait, no, she wants Xaden, goddammit. Then, the kiss. The Churum-fueled enemies to lovers moment we've all been waiting for. Lightning literally strikes, wink wink. Xaden tries to be noble or some shit, and Violet panics and flees into the night. No notes. Meanwhile, Dain is offended she didn't share her memory with him. That's what happens when you demand like a toddler. And Violet keeps leveling up, learning to shield, mastering lesser magic, and finally winning challenges without poison. And because it's always something around here. Jack fucking Barlow is allowed to challenge her and possibly uses unknown powers to almost kill her. Violet, absolute genius that she is, shoves an orange slice in his mouth and wins via citrus-based violence. I think Xaden speaks for all of us when he says, "Oranges? You turned oranges into a weapon?" She wakes up in the infirmary, and who's at her bedside? Yep, Xaden. And suddenly he's all, "Here's a whole armory full of daggers I made for you and personally ruined because I'm definitely not in love with you, sir." Violet and Xaden run into her mom and Colonel Atos in the stairwell. 10 out of 10, awkward. Atos is sniffing around for her dad's research, which we know is major later. And her mom gives Violet a look. Afterward, Xaden is stunned. Violet and her mom have the emotional intimacy of two wet rocks. And then we're off to the squad battle. The challenge? Steal something juicy. Liam suggests intel, and Violet's like, "Cool, let's rob my mom." Iron Squad wins and gets a trip to Montserrat, where Violet and Ree immediately plan a sneaky detour. But surprise, Mira's there, instantly clocks Violet acting weird, and follows her like a bloodhound. And surprise again, Xaden shows up claiming it's Sigale's fault, but really, he's the one who just missed her, and Sigale couldn't stand his insufferable whining anymore. In Montserrat's briefing room, Dain and Xaden have a full-blown dick measuring contest. Xaden mind speaks to Violet for the first time, swoon, and everyone starts side-eyeing Dain's whole "my signet is top secret" thing. Sure it is, Dain. Then Montserrat starts to fall, Xaden kisses Violet as a distraction, and we're out. We then head into War Games, where, of course, Fourth Wing dominates, but not before Jack stabs Liam. Violet snaps, and her lightning finally roars to life in the most cinematic moment ever. "I am the sky and the power of every storm that has ever been. I am infinite." Woo!
Yeah.
All right, let's go. It is time for Threads of Theory, the part of the show where we connect the dots, decode dragon politics, and throw out bold, possibly unhinged theories that we'll definitely regret later. We're unraveling the story one wing beat at a time, and trust us, it's about to fly off the rails. Let's follow the threads.
Yes. We start off this stretch of chapters meeting our favorite rebellion relic wearing rider, Liam Mari. Xaden has assigned Liam to watch over Violet every second of every damn day. And luckily, Liam is so wonderful, it's only mildly annoying. They are going about their archives duty when we get an interesting conversation between Violet and Liam. Violet does not remember seeing Liam's father's name on the execution death rolls at Caldir, and Liam claims he was executed later at their home. Why does Rebecca Yarros include this detail? Do we think Liam's father is really dead? Could he be Venin?
So it could be an interesting theory that Liam's dad is secretly a Venin and that he actually wasn't executed at all. It is kind of like Liam's like covering the tracks essentially of where his dad really is, because we do get, when they battle at Resin, for some reason Liam's family's crest is on all these crates of dynamite essentially. Yeah, and because we know Liam later dies, it is interesting to include all these details about a character's family who dies.
Or do we think that it shows that Navarre is going so far to make it seem like they didn't execute him even though they did? So it ties back into the whole like cover up.
Right, of like, we don't do anything outside of the rules kind of thing, because he wasn't a writer as far as we know. He was just married to one. He technically should not have been executed because he didn't turn against Navarre, but they were kind of like, well, you're too close. You probably were a traitor of some sort. We're just going to kill your whole family kind of thing. I could see it being more likely that, but it is a fun theory that like he could be Venin out there.
I feel like it's definitely more like leadership is planting his family crest on the dynamite to sort of, I don't know, he's being used to avoid suspicion, which makes it so sad because even in death he's being used. It's just like, so sad.
I think it is actually their family business, because later Sloane knows exactly what it is. She's like, oh yeah, Morrisite, that's like my family's thing. It's just like, why? Yeah.
Like farmer.
No, she is very excited that Violet suggests using that in Iron Flame for the Flyers. So I do think it is their family business, but it is weird. It still has never been explained why it was at Resin.
Yeah. Fair. Yeah.
It says it has a crate of something marked with Liam's family crest. So you guys think it was dynamite?
Well, mayor site, which is basically dynamite.
Oh, interesting. I always thought maybe it was something a bit more like sus, like something they were using to like power the wards or something.
I always assumed because Violet shoots lightning at it later in the, like, that's what her next goal is like after seeing it, and it's an explosion. I assumed it was mayor site.
Me too. I definitely thought it was an explosive.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so cool. I did not know. I learned something new.
Yeah, and then later in Iron Flame, when Violet brings up using the mayor's site, and Sloane is like, I know exactly what you're talking about because that's my family's business. It kind of like puts those two puzzle pieces together.
Oh,
But
amazing.
it is like, why was it at Ressin? Was it just being held there because we know Ressin is the trading post and
Yeah.
maybe it's just like a random coincidence? But it is interesting details to point out of why is Rebecca Yarros including these details?
Yeah. TBD.
Yeah.
So then we head into battle brief and we get some wonderful banter between Liam and the rest of the squad. I think it just shows how wonderful Liam is and how easily he fits in with the core group. It's also so hilarious. We love some of the comedic relief amongst all of the death that we get daily.
Agree. I love the line when Riddick is like, are we telling dick jokes now? Because my whole life has been waiting for this moment.
Yeah. So ready.
So ready.
We then find out that Xaden has warded Violet's bedroom because he is not so secretly becoming obsessed about her safety. Cuff. He loves her. Cuff. And lastly, we find out the scroll that Liam and Violet accidentally / on purpose read from the archives duty that was not marked as classified, even though it actually was. I think that was just showing us about how much the cadets are not being told and are really driving home the reality that the writers are just sheep.
I totally agree. And then next we fly straight into December. Time is flying by and Violet is still working hard to try and keep her seat in training with the squad. We come to a training session on the mat with Rhea and Violet, and none other than Xaden and Garrick show up to spar as well. This scene is hilarious and delicious in that Rhea and Violet and basically everyone in the gym stops what they're doing and starts drooling at how hot Xaden and Garrick are. I know.
Yeah.
This is such a perfectly imagined scene in the TV series, and I absolutely can't wait. And they better keep it word for word. If it's not
Amen.
there, I'll be so mad.
So
yes.
Yes. But Jack has to be Jack and comes strolling over to fuck with Violet and try and get her to fight him. But she doesn't rise to his bait, however, and keeping her cool proves to Taryn and Andarna that she's ready to channel.
I love that scene so much.
Yeah. It's amazing. A couple hours later, Violet is in her room when she first feels that rush of power. She describes it as forging something completely new as it fills every pore, every organ, every bone. It's no wonder a writer cannot live without their dragon after this description. It sounds as if the magic alters their very own DNA. This line has a lot of implications, so do not forget it as we continue on with our story. There are multiple theories it could support that we will bring up later. Too many to discuss now. And then almost immediately, I guess Taryn decides it's time to celebrate by getting it on with Sigale. So, poor Violet, she just gets thrown right into feeling Taryn's lust. In an attempt to get away from Liam so she doesn't climb him like a tree, Violet flees her dormitory into the night. And of course, she stumbles right into Xaden smoking some churrum.
Oh my gosh, and you guys, we finally get the moment we've all been waiting for. The enemies finally start tiptoeing towards lovers. Hence the name of our drink.
Oh, yes. And it's delicious, by the way.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Enjoy that.
Sorry, Ashley.
Sorry, Ashley.
I've got my Essentia.
I also love the conversation we get when Xaden teaches Violet how to shield out Taryn. She makes little quips about how Xaden is finally going to help her with something. And Xaden is so offended. He's like, excuse me, I have been helping you for months. It's such a classic male-female dynamic where she views his help as not helping. And he's like, I literally killed 6 people for you and I sent you Liam. Rude.
I totally agree. It reminds me so much of like my dynamic with my husband sometimes. Just like, he's like, I do this, 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 and this for you. And I'm like, what? Like, wait, but you didn't do this thing, which is the important thing I needed you to do.
I did 1 million things you didn't ask me to do.
So anyway, their flirting is absolutely delicious. And because no one is thinking too clearly due to dragon emotions and churrum, we finally get our first kiss. Woo! And it is hot. And Xaden accidentally reads her intentions here, taking the kiss just a little deeper. And on a reread, it's even more delicious. I love this scene so much.
Oh, it's so good.
But it's after this moment that we no longer get any descriptions of her scalp tingling. And as we know from Iron Flame, Xaden stopped trying to read Violet's intentions after she became more than the general's daughter to him.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, Violet's lightning strike, due to her finally feeling free, and yes, we will discuss this during War Games, Xaden breaks the kiss and gets some chivalrous sense knocked into him, and Violet flees into the night.
The next morning, Violet is giving Ree the delicious download from her makeout session with Xaden, and Ree, not subtly, reminds Violet that while Xaden is the most powerful writer of their generation right now, Violet is most likely going to be more powerful. It's that classic scenario of the best people to handle power are the ones who do not seek it.
Facts.
Yes. We also learn that Ree can summon. Violet says, I haven't read about a signet power like that in a century. Definitely outright foreshadowing of how powerful and central Rhiannon will continue to be to the story.
We love Ree.
I'd also like to point out right in this next chapter, we actually get a moment where normally in past chapters, Xaden would notice her and her scalp would prickle, but here it doesn't, just as you guys just said. And it's such a small breadcrumb on a reread. It's actually something I just noticed on this reread that we did, that I was like, oh wait, her scalp doesn't prickle after this moment ever again.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
And then who comes sauntering up getting a glare from Xaden but Dain Payne? He confronts Violet about how hurt he is that she shared her memory with everyone and wouldn't show it just to him. But as Violet points out, Dain did not ask. He demanded. They have a small little makeup and are sort of friends again. Violet heads into her first lesson with Professor Carr, and we quickly get a time jump montage of Violet learning to shield, ground, and learn to use her lesser magics now that she can wield. She also stops poisoning her opponents and starts winning challenges for real, all while Xaden is avoiding her like the actual plague after their kiss. We learn Riddick can wield ice and that Liam has farsight. Basically, everyone has a signet but Violet, but she just doesn't realize her lightning has already manifested.
Isn't that so cool? Then the moment that Jack fucking Barlow has been waiting for. He finally gets to challenge Violet on the mat, aka he gets to attempt to kill her. But Violet warns Liam that this was about to happen, but he can't believe it when it still does. And then a line we had no clue would be foreshadowing. Liam asks Riddick to guard Violet like you're me. Now, we know in Onyx Storm that Riddick has really taken this to heart, even in the present day in the series, demanding to guard and protect Violet on her journey to the Isle Kingdoms. This is one of the biggest reasons I don't think that Riddick is the, quote, brother at the end of Onyx Storm.
I agree. It just doesn't add up.
Violet and Jack then battle on the mat, and unknowingly to the reader and Violet at this point, Jack uses his venom powers to shake her by an internal force she does not understand, as though he is forcing his own power into her body, shocking her with 1,000 stings of vibrating energy. And that was the quote. But there is a theory out there in the universe that while Jack is venom at this point, his signet is also pain projection, which is what he's using his venom powers to enhance here, which is insane.
Yes, I actually love this theory.
Yeah, me too. I buy this.
Because what else would his signet be?
Yeah,
I
say that it's like built into who you are as a person, and that is who he is as a person.
Correct.
Yep.
But Violet, being the fucking brilliant woman that she is, shoves her last line of defense into Jack's mouth, causing him to break a tooth as well as asphyxiate on oranges.
Brilliant. I love it so much.
It's so great.
It's so good.
So great. And then, of course, Violet wakes up in the infirmary, and guess who's sitting by her bedside? It's not Riddick, it's Xaden. Violet thinks he looks ready to murder her himself, but I'd be willing to bet that Xaden has been sitting in that chair scared out of his mind because the woman he loves almost died.
Yep.
Even if he's been avoiding her like the plague. It kind of reminds me after what happens after Reston, and we get his POV where he's sitting in the chair waiting for her to wake up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I actually wonder if this is the moment he realizes that he's in love with her. We know in just a few short chapters from Xaden's Montserrat POV that he knows he's in love with her by that time. He says it in his internal monologue, even though they aren't at all together. And I could see this event being the catalyst for him to truly face his feelings, or at least start to admit them to himself.
I think you're right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And because of this realization, we finally start to see Xaden give in. He starts to be the one to train Violet on everything.
Everything.
You guys both did that at the same time. Yeah.
Xaden is starting with some sparring lessons and shows up to the sparring ring covered in daggers. And not just any daggers, but ones he had especially made for Violet and personally ruined himself, as we learn later on in Iron Flame. By this point, he knows exactly how easily he's going to give in to his feelings for Violet. This early on, he's giving her protection against Cat and the key to Basgiath's forge. On a reread, this man is so obviously in love with her from the very beginning. I also can't wait for the rest of the series to see what all the runes on all these fucking daggers mean. Like, we perused Reddit, and even the fandom does not have many theories as to what some of the daggers could mean. The only one I saw with mild merit was that one dagger could have a tracking rune, so Xaden would always find her.
Oh,
However,
interesting.
He can track her through their bond, so I don't know why he would need that when at this point he does not know the bond blocking serum exists.
True.
I agree. Like, it's a fun thing to think, but I'm like, why would he think he needs that?
Yeah. Do you think we will ever learn what they all mean? Do we think it's like actually furthering the plot if we do?
I think we might learn like one or two. I don't think we're going to actually learn what they all mean. I think it's just going to be like, if
the important ones.
Yeah, I think if Rebecca needs to pull those out of her pocket at any time, it's like one of those writing things we talked about last week where she just like left herself little breadcrumbs in case she needs them. I could see her just being like, oh, my character's in this moment. Oh, maybe Violet's dagger she has on her does this thing.
Yeah,
even though
really
I don't think she's like sat and written down what all the daggers do.
I think it's smart. She's a smart writer, so I trust her either way.
Agreed. And then we get lots of what I picture as like a montage of Violet training with Xaden.
We get lots of montages in this section.
A mental montage. Yeah.
And of everybody developing their signets still except for Violet. And as Xaden is whisking Violet away for another flying lesson, they step into the stairwell and run directly into Colonel Atos and General Sorengale. During the scene, Violet's mother is cold to her as usual. And from Violet's POV throughout the book and this passage, we get a lot of descriptions about her mother's facial expressions and how Violet always interprets them to be like disappointment in Violet. And given that her mother is very ruthless and short, I can totally understand why Violet interprets her mother this way. But do we think that she's actually like this, or do we think it's more of a mask to strengthen her children in her way?
It really stuck out to me on this reread of Violet almost like putting words into her mother's mouth a lot of the time.
Projecting, for sure.
She projects a lot. And now that we know so much more about Lilith, it felt more obvious this time of it being like, but is that really what Lilith is meaning in this moment?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. There are some other lines she says how Lilith ignored her for a year after Brennan died and things like that. But that do seem very like, oh, maybe her mom really is this cold. But I also think maybe that was the way she was dealing with her grief and had nothing to do with Violet at all.
I agree with that.
Yeah. I just think and I think we're all guilty of it sometimes with our own parents, especially when you're a teenager. Your mom or dad will do something that like viciously annoys you, but every other person in the room is like why are you mad? You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, she's so annoying. And it's like, is she?
Yeah, it's like, oh, your parents don't seem that bad, or like whatever happened just doesn't seem like that big a deal, but you're just so vexed by them because they're your parents and you have to deal with them all the time kind of thing. And I feel like we get a lot of that with Violet here. I don't think Lilith is actually as terrible as Violet makes her seem.
Yeah.
I do agree, especially on the reread. It's kind of like a lot of projection. Definitely
Yeah.
agree with that. Well, and in this chapter, we get an extremely important passage of foreshadowing for Onyx Storm. Colonel Atos is interested in Violet's father's research on the Second Crovelin Uprising and Feathertails, interestingly enough, but claims they cannot find it. We now know that the research is safely hidden for Violet and leads her to the Isle Kingdoms and the secret of the Irids. Do we think that her father originally confided in Atos, but then discovered his how shall I say, less than savory side? And do we think that Lilith knew?
Do you think that Lilith knew? I think she gives her like a look during this sequence that Violet interprets as like, tell us where it is. But I think she's actually saying like, don't open your mouth.
Don't tell us.
Yeah. Like, do not tell us where it is.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, when you look at the big picture, I also question though, maybe Violet's mother didn't know. I know I just said that she did, but maybe she didn't. I actually don't know that her mom and dad agreed on the Venin issue, because here's a woman who went to extreme lengths to hide the Venin secret from her own kingdom. And here's a man who is secretly writing books to his daughter to give her the information the whole time.
Yeah.
So it makes me kind of feel like maybe they didn't agree on this issue of how best to deal with the Venins.
I agree.
Like, population, because he clearly thought Violet should know. She clearly felt like she shouldn't. It's why she pushed her into the writer quadrant. She was like, as soon as you know, you're going to go on your crusade to save the world. And maybe they didn't agree, but I have a feeling her mother definitely suspected what was in that and was like, don't tell Colonel Atos. I think it could be both, actually. I think it could be both.
I wonder if Violet's dad gave Lilith the dagger, the ruined dagger that she now realizes is a like venom killing dagger. And I wonder if her mom keeps it as a memento remembering her husband.
Oh, I don't think so. I think they all carry them because they're just the daggers that power the wards too.
So like classic romantic. I'm like,
I know.
But then who is imbuing them at Basgaiath, I wonder. Anyway.
But oh yeah, back to Atos, because he's been friends with their family for so long. I could see them having originally been closer with him and then kind of been like, oh, you're starting to act strange. Maybe let's not share with you everything we know.
Yeah.
Because we also know his character by now is a little like pig-headed and kind of idiotic. And I could see Violet's father being like, I don't like you.
Yeah, I also feel like he's working with the venom.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And we will definitely discuss that at length when we get to the end of this book. Yes. So they walk away and Xaden is surprised about Violet and her mother's relationship. Violet asks Xaden what the price he paid for his loyalty was. And this is the first time Violet unknowingly is asking about the scars on his back. Of course, Xaden deflects the question. But to be fair, they're not really involved yet at this moment. And he really doesn't want her to know about the scars and what her mother did.
I wonder why.
I know. But he should also know Violet well enough by now that she wouldn't hold any of that against him.
Yes, but I mean, she wouldn't hold it against him, but how would it then make her feel even more so a certain way about her mother when she's already potentially projecting so much? Like, what then would that be?
That's kind of the perspective that I think is true. I think he's like, I don't think you want to know this about your mom. Like,
yeah.
And also, like, you have such disdain already that if I told you about this, I don't know, we might still need your mom. Like, you know?
Yeah.
True. We immediately move into the squad battle with our favorite Iron Squad close in the lead for first place.
For the last part of the squad battle, they have to acquire something that would be the most advantageous to their enemies should they get a hold of it. And at Liam's suggestion, I wonder who follows around Violet all the time, hey?
Seriously.
They decide to steal information. Violet then comes up with the plan to sneak into her mother's office.
Smart girl.
While figuring out her plan, Violet asks about the Signets in their squad. One we learn about but still have not seen used in the series is Heaton's power of being able to breathe underwater. Do we think we will see this by the end of the series, and how?
Interesting.
Yeah, so this is really interesting. Is there like maybe an underwater kingdom or like something? You know, they go to the Isle Kingdoms later in this
Yeah.
series. Maybe something happens where they're on a ship and it crashes and Heaton has to like save the day. I don't know.
No,
It's
but
such
I
like a
love it.
weird, it's such a
Yeah.
weird detail to include when we don't know so many people's Signets. To know theirs is like, why is it this power? Also, why
Yeah.
is this like at their core what
Yeah.
it says about
Yeah,
them that they can breathe underwater? Do they want to be a mermaid?
Also, how did he figure that out? Like, was he in the shower and he's like, I can breathe?
Well, I mean, maybe there's some kind of thing that, because he can essentially create oxygen in a place where oxygen doesn't exist, right? So, like, I don't know. There's like,
Yeah, maybe it's a more wide power than breathing underwater.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe there's a part of it that can be, used. But I really think that there's some secrets that lie below the surface in this series that I can't wait to hear about. And I love water. I'm a Cancer baby. I'm a water baby. Okay. We also learned during their heist that Nadine has the power to unweave wards. She is also the one who does not trust the marked ones. Sus? Maybe. Why would she need this power at her core?
Agree, and I didn't really think about her being that sus until this reread. And I think, Allie, you pointed it out of like, why does this one person need to unweave wards? And I was like, wait, that is such a weird power. Why does she do that?
Yeah, exactly.
Especially because we also know that the Tirish are often the ones who know how to weave the wards and runes and things like that. So it kind of makes me wonder if like that's kind of tied in.
All third years can weave wards. It's not just, but the Tirish can specifically do runes. But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
It is also interesting she's the character pointed out as hating the marked ones, but also, once again, she's a character that dies next book. So, like, why was this important information?
Well, we have yet to find out, but I'm sure we will.
Or maybe this was, once again, one of those breadcrumbs she didn't end up using. Like, maybe Nadine was going to, like, go full rebellion, traitor, turning them in, and she decided not to have that storyline anymore or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Make Nadine likable. No. Well, so I know we kind of already touched on this, but this is when we get the first clue during this escapade that Violet's mother knows about the venom. She finds the alloy hilted dagger on her mother's desk that Violet thinks she's using as a letter opener.
Oh, sweet child.
Sweet baby.
Sweet girl.
Little do you know. For her mother to be carrying this around within Basgiath is pretty suspicious and kind of implies that she encounters venom semi-often. Don't you think?
Enough, for sure.
Often enough within Basgiath.
Yes. To need it. Yep.
And while they're in her mother's office, she also notices that the Barons are included on the map they steal and acts kind of surprised about that. Well, of course it includes the Barons because do we think her mother was somehow secretly keeping venom tabs?
Yeah, it's not actually on the map in any way, but I feel like she would, because in Iron Flame, she makes some comment about like, do you not really think I would know where my children are or whatever? She like has all this like, secret information.
Yeah, she has to know.
And it's like, why else would the Barons be on that map if they're this land no one uses or talks about? I think that's why Violet's kind of surprised they're there, is it's kind of like, well, that's not a strategic area to look at. I wonder if there's like a ward over the map or something that if she has her magical signature, touch it or something, that venom flags appear.
I would love that.
Ooh.
I would love it. What's the
I would
journal
love
in
to
Harry
see
Potter,
that.
Alex?
Oh, Riddle's diary.
Yeah.
Well, with a steal like that, Violet's squad wins the squad battle.
Of course.
And so they win the chance to go off to Montserrat. Woo! And a chance to die.
Yeah.
And right away, I know. And right away, Reed notices how close they are to her village, and she and Violet plot their escape. But whoa there, guess who's stationed at Montserrat? Mira Sorrengail. I love that she knows Violet so well that she can tell she's acting weird at dinner and changes shifts to follow her. It's a beautiful show don't tell of how close they are as sisters. As they're sharing a quiet night together at Rhee's parents' home, we get a little foreshadowing of Wyvern. Mira says she swears she saw a riot of dragons across the border. We later find out she didn't see dragons, she saw Wyvern, but being a soldier in the cog of Navarre did not question that they might have a covert operation going on when they didn't. And within this same conversation, Mira tells Violet she has the fables of the Baron to give her back at Montserrat. And we get an incredibly clear description from Mira how she understands why someone could turn Venin. A Venin is someone who is jealous enough, ambitious enough, that risking their soul would be a fair price to pay for the ability to wield. This has been true of every character we have seen turn Venin, except Xaden
Spoiler alert.
Ryerson. Yes.
Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert.
Except Xaden. And I think the Venin have no idea what they've awakened by turning someone who did not turn for those reasons.
Yeah, I agree with you. And well, look who shows up 3 days after her journey but Xaden. Claiming Sigale couldn't be away from Tairn, but now that we have Xaden's bonus POV of this chapter, we know it was actually Xaden who couldn't stay away, knowing how close Violet was to the edge of the wards.
So I've read this book now 8 times, but this is the first time for some reason that I've really caught the meaning of the epigraph before this chapter. It's the letter of recommendation for Mira's award after Strathmore, and for some reason, I've always read it that her mother was recommending a higher award, but they didn't grant it because it looked like favoritism towards her daughter. But it's actually the opposite. Another major is the one recommending the Star of Navarre for Mira, and her mother is the one who downgrades it to the Order of the Talent.
I mean, this is absolutely another showing of just how ruthless and unforgiving their mother can be. She demands excellence. So while we know she secretly has a lot of ulterior motives throughout the story that don't put her in such a negative light, but at the end of the day, she is still also a hard, stone cold woman.
Yeah,
True.
She demands excellence.
Yes.
She does.
Yes.
Especially from her children.
Yes, especially.
But she also knows what's at stake, right? She knows more than a lot of people, what the stakes are.
So true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she wants her children to survive.
Yeah,
So
I think that is major why
Yeah.
her coldness is the way that it is, because she
Yeah.
knows how brutal it is. She
Yeah.
is honestly the only person who is actively trying to prepare them in some capacity of literally what is out there.
Yeah.
And we have to remember, she was raised as a writer.
Yeah.
Like, imagine going through Basgiath War College where you're so desensitized to death and all of these things, and then one day, like, having children. It just feels like that's gonna be what happens to your personality a little
Yeah,
bit.
exactly.
Of like,
You're like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
yeah,
Hard one to turn off and on for sure.
exactly.
So then we get the scene at the Montserrat briefing room from Violet and Xaden's POV.
Oh my God, I'm obsessed with this scene.
And this whole scene is absolutely delicious from top to bottom. I love it. We get Dain and we get Xaden having their little jealous standoff, and we get Xaden mind speaking to Violet for the very first time too. Mira is honestly giving them an amazing lesson in strategy. She would be an amazing teacher.
Totally agree.
And it comes up that third years are commonly sent to Midland posts to guard. And Dain claims that this isn't true, and it basically freaks him out. And for someone who claims to be so in the know because of all that his daddy tells him, this is a little bit surprising that he doesn't know this.
Yeah, I totally agree, because there's so many points in this book where he even tells Violet, you don't know what your mother's done to him. There's things about Xaden you don't know. He always has this air of arrogance, and so many of the other cadets say it too, about how stuck up Zane is about how his dad and how much he knows. So for him to not know this when it's such a common occurrence and that every third year that he's even friends with would be doing is really weird.
Agreed. He should know this.
Yeah, it's like a weird, I don't know, maybe almost like an editing error, or like a plot hole almost.
I don't know.
But
He's
it's
so
also
conditioned.
but it's so specific that it's definitely not a plot hole, but it's definitely weird.
Yeah, he's just so conditioned to be a certain way. He's been like so groomed that it is just what it is for me, I think.
Yeah.
It is an interesting dynamic because with Dain and his dad, he tries to be his dad. And with Violet and her mom, she's just like, let me be as far below the radar as possible. And I think it is an interesting juxtaposition because they basically grew up in virtually the same position, knowing each other for such a long time.
Agree. They've definitely gone different paths. But I will say, until Dane's dad finds out what's going on, he's very nice and very giving Violet sympathetic looks, and we think he's a good character.
That is
Until he isn't.
Yeah.
Yes, but I imagine that's probably how Dain sees his dad and
Of
Violet
course,
until
yes.
he betrays her.
Yeah. Yep.
So we find out from Xaden's POV here that the real reason he's been staying away from Violet at this point is because he doesn't want her to be on the receiving end of the hate he always gets as being Fen Ryerson's son. Violet always interprets his reluctance as their kill, don't kill me relationship, or that he doesn't want people to judge her for sleeping with a superior. This really shows us that Violet truly doesn't judge the marked ones for their past like the rest of the Quadrant and Navarre do. Yeah, and as a reader without this chapter from his POV, I don't think we would even realize that either. It doesn't come up in the rest of the series that that's how he really felt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The other thing we learned from Xaden's POV is that Sigale could also have definitely been away from Tairn longer than 3 days, but that she found Xaden's constant whining insufferable, and I'm absolutely deceased.
I loved it. I love it so much. I love her, and I love their relationship. Rebecca Yarros is a genius. I love it so much.
Yeah, I love the passage where she's like mocking him, being like, what is Violet doing? Is she thinking about me? Is she thinking about that kiss?
I love it so much.
Just like, I can't wait for that. The TV show, I can't wait. I can't wait.
Oh my God, I hope they include that in the TV show.
Oh,
Sigale better have a good chunk because her POV is just...
She will.
I know.
She will. In Violet and Xaden's POV, they both question during this scene if Dain really has to keep his signet a secret. Xaden pointing out, how does Dain not realize they're going to use him against other riders? And Violet wondering how in the world he's just gotten so far without anyone else knowing. What do we think?
I think it's just his sense of entitlement. Like,
Yes.
It's like it plays into that whole thing about how he thinks he's, daddy's favorite and
And
all
he's
these
better than,
things.
he knows everything. Everyone else is not ready to know it yet. Like,
yes, because it isn't a showy signet.
Yeah,
So,
I think he kind of gets off on being able to be like, it's classified.
Totally.
He does. And it's not
Totally.
a signet that anyone could have ever seen him wield. It's not like ice. He easily, from the very beginning, could have just been like, I can't tell you what it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The other big piece of information we get at this moment, we have mentioned earlier, that Xaden point blank says, fuck, I love this woman in his POV. He is already in love with her. OMG. But then acts later in the book like he doesn't know what love is when Violet confesses her feelings for him. But we know it's all a ruse to just constantly push her away and to deny himself happiness because he thinks it will cost her hers.
Ugh, break my heart.
It's so crazy that he point blank says that he loves her this early on in the book in his thoughts.
I know. Sigale tells him in Xaden's POV portion, she says, love isn't something you get over. Ugh.
Dragon wisdom.
I absolutely love that she's kind of like the mother-son relationship.
Yes.
And
he doesn't have a mother.
I know. We get to see that
doesn't
so
anymore.
much through his POV here. And Sigale is ruthless, but she always chooses Xaden and tries to constantly tell him that he's being a fool, especially when it comes to Violet.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I love it so much. Xaden also thinks about how perfect Violet is, even when she is doubting herself because of her quote frailness. And in his eyes, she is fucking perfect. And no one is Violet's cheerleader more than Xaden Ryerson Dain. And it's so ironic that in this part of the book, she's still adjusting to the fact that he doesn't want to kill her.
And he's just like, I'm your number one fan. I'm madly in love with you.
I'm trying to make sure you live with literally all of my energy.
We also get the knowledge bomb from Xaden's POV that Imogen is on a dagger run, playing sick and meeting up with Serena's drift. But he also thinks he, quote unquote, can't risk her being caught by Signy flyers. Signy flyers would take the daggers and then kill Imogen to make a point. Okay. This line is so telling about the relations between the different territories within Poromil. And I think we forget sometimes, because we usually deal only with the quote-unquote nice flyers, that not all the flyers agree with how the war is being handled. And this line prompts my theory that the wards falling is actually due to the Signy flyers, as opposed to a lot of people think it's Venin within. And I think that fact is confirmed in Onyx Storm, because Mira says when she meets Drake that, oh, you're in the Nightwing Drift, and I heard the Nightwing Drift was instrumental in bringing down the wards at the Montserrat attack.
Yeah.
So I don't think it is Venin in this case at all. I think it is really the Signy who are sneaking in, disabling the wards. And I know Xaden thinks of like it in this chapter, oh, the enemies are already within. I think he's thinking Poromish enemies who actually are against the way that they're trying to help the Poromish. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he means Venin in that instance, actually.
Okay.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bring up another theory. Nicole on Fantasy Fangirls, she has this like huge soapbox she stands on. And when it comes to Signetson, she's like, her theory is that actually Signetson as a territory is working with the Venin, and that the Signy flyers are like evil.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She has nothing. There's not a lot of receipts to back that up, but whenever something suspicious like this happens, it's always around Signetson, and she's not wrong.
No.
To be fair.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think they're working with the Venin. I feel like they just don't agree with only accepting the daggers from what Xaden can manage to get them. And they're like, that's not how we're going to survive. We don't agree with that. And we're going to attack Navarre at every chance we get. And we don't care if we have to kill any Navarrian to get what we need.
Great.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they're desperate.
Yeah.
They're desperate.
Yeah. And that brings us to Liam accusing Xaden that the wards falling at Montserrat could be their fault. Xaden and Sigale assure Liam that this was not because they stole too many daggers. Xaden thinks we have enemies within the keep already. He probably means the Poromish not on their side as opposed to Venin. The Flyers are approaching to swarm Montserrat. Are they Signetson? Probably. Montserrat borders Signetson and Navarre. Or this theory from Reddit username Constant Classic 2229. We find out from Onyx Storm that Drake Cordella, who is in the Nightwing Drift that's normally on the Breivik border, was instrumental in bringing down the wards at Montserrat. Now, it seems odd that Breivik flyers would attack a supposedly safe outpost that isn't even near their border. However, they were close enough to receive a shipment from Imogen. When they leave, Xaden notes that Dain looks out of breath, which is strange because Dain is pretty fit. Why would he be winded after climbing just 3 floors? After that, Dain tries to convince Violet to leave, saying, and I quote, because I'll make it. Sienna, Emery, and Heaton will too. And we all fucking know Ryerson will. But what about Rhiannon, Riddick, Sawyer? You want their deaths on your hands? Interestingly, Nadine is conveniently missing from the list. This leads me to think that Nadine accidentally brought down the wards. Dain, being their squad leader and responsible for her, found out about it and covered it up. Perhaps this is why he was out of breath. He used his signet to check if Nadine had done it intentionally, which exerted him. I believe that when Drake arrived to receive the shipment, he found the wards already down and seized the opportunity to take credit for the event. So, okay, Constant Classic 2229.
I
here for that.
Don't hate that theory at all.
No.
I'm having a hard time finding the hole in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it honestly feels very like a whole, oh, that could definitely be happening behind the scenes. The only hole I see a little bit is I don't know that Drake and Serena were together. Like, I don't know if they're really part of the same drift.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Drake was necessarily nearby.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Xaden gets Violet to leave with a distracting kiss, and the squad leaves Montserrat.
Heading into our last chapter of this episode is a very interesting epigraph that says, eventually those closest to us become our enemies in some way, even if it's through well-intentioned love or apathy, or if we live long enough to become their villains.
Ooh, dropping bombs.
We forget about this epigraph a lot, I feel like.
It hits. It hits hard. It's super ominous foreshadowing. We have yet to see play out in the series. But one thought does come to mind is the situation that Violet puts her squad in when Xaden becomes Venom. Because her friends have this well-intentioned love that they don't tell anyone Xaden is Venom when really he is. And that's so dangerous. And he's so dangerous. And I'm glad that they kept this secret. But when we think about what Xaden was risking every single day to be close to the woman that he loved, they made an emotional choice and not really the logical one.
Yeah, I do kind of feel like this is foreshadowing of the way everyone reacts to Xaden becoming Venom. They really get apathetic towards it because he is so not like a typical Venom, essentially.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and with the epigraph, it kind of leads into an ominous foreshadowing that Xaden could become Violet's villain. Don't you guys think?
I know it does kind of feel like ominous foreshadowing, but
Yeah.
I don't want it to be that, but it feels like that.
A little bit. Yeah, it does. Okay, so Violet is waiting outside of Markham's office to find out if Mira survived the attack when Xaden brings her coffee. They finally have a somewhat honest conversation, mutually mind to mind, where Xaden finally admits their relationship has changed. And basically, he wants her. But he's still not going to make the move.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. He leaves when Violet falls into Dain's arms. And I think he's convinced himself here that Dain is what is best, major air quotes, for Violet in a romantic way. Obviously
So
not in terms of keeping her
dumb.
safe. Yes, I know. And then we get the most precious moment where Violet says the only person she feels like she can see her cry is Andarna. And Andarna is the one who holds her while she cries. And it's just
My whole heart.
Alone
My
in the
whole
fight
heart.
field. And I'm just.
My whole
This
heart.
also goes back to the whole like not being able to show emotion thing.
Mm-hmm.
It just breaks my heart.
Yeah.
Luckily, Mira's alive though.
Yes, luckily Mira is alive. I think we all knew she wasn't going to die in that
Yeah,
moment.
no, she
but
can't.
in that moment.
The next few weeks, Violet tries to get to know Xaden. He acts like he finds this annoying and he's confused by it, but I bet his inner monologue is like, she can't get close to me. I'm the worst thing for her. Idiot.
Yeah.
We head straight into the first battle of War Games, and Xaden has made Violet a saddle. And not only that, but he has finally dropped all pretense that he doesn't want her. He even says, that stubborn, feisty look always makes me want to kiss you. And threatens to kiss her in front of Dain. Why do we think he's finally giving in here?
I think he's just been worn down little by little at this point,
agree.
honestly. I don't think there was like a huge catalyst. I think he
No.
finally was just like, I can't fucking do this anymore.
Perfect. Do it.
Thanks to Gail too is like,
Yeah,
listen, man, you gotta stop talking about this.
Absolutely.
Okay, so they start battling, and fucking Jack Barlow stabs Liam. And Violet saves Liam because, of course, she dies. But Yaros needs us to feel like she won't kill off main characters at this point, you fucking tricky woman. And on her revenge rampage, Violet finally manifests her signet because she finally feels free as Taryn's writer and that she no longer is trying to keep her seat. She has accepted who she is as a writer and not what her mother expects her to be. And that sense of freedom is finally what allows her signet to come to light. Literally. It's absolutely beautiful. And we end with Taryn roaring through the skies and screaming, "Lightning wielder." And
So
I
good.
love it.
So good. And what an amazing way to end this stretch of chapters.
Truly. And then she says the line, "I am the sky and the power of every storm that has ever been. I am infinite."
It's so good. And we do later find out that her actual signet is just power, and she just feels comfortable manifesting it as lightning.
Which
Crazy.
is interesting because also her mom is Storms, and it's a nice little parallel.
It is a nice little parallel.
So, ladies, we have pulled at the threads, unraveled the secrets, and questioned pretty much everything. But now it's time to soften the lens and give some love. Welcome to Roses, a reoccurring segment where we share the scenes that shattered us, the ones we loved, and the ones we could do without. Alex, what part of these chapters had you smelling the roses?
My favorite part of these chapters, and I get so excited every time I reread this book and I get to this chapter, is when they're at Montserrat and Xaden is dick measuring with Dain.
Yeah.
I crack up hysterically like every time I read it. It never gets old. I love when the older writer is like, you guys just want to whip it out and measure already. Like,
Yeah, I love it.
I love it so much. I love, because it's one of my favorite scenes too, that was one of the bonus POVs we got from her.
Yeah.
Of seeing Xaden and what he felt of the whole situation too, is he was fucking with Dain on purpose. Like, it's just so fun.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
It's such a good one. Ashley, what about you?
I mean, I have so many. It's so hard to pick. All of the mind convos that they have with each other at Montserrat is just, I just read it with such excitement. But I think the kiss, obviously, there's that quote, his mouth crushes mine. It's not gentle. It's fire, fury, want. This is not like a very sweet first kiss, right? It's raw, it's aching, and it's fueled by like weeks of repressed feelings. It's Violet claiming what she wants and Xaden finally letting go of control. It's the kind of kiss that says that this changes everything. It just feels like the enemies to friend thing. Xaden's armor kind of there, it cracks it open a little bit. The desperation of it. And I think for Violet, it's the first time that she's kissed someone who sees her as she truly is, which is like strong, and stubborn, worthy of desire. You know,
we know
so
Halden didn't.
Nope.
Yeah. No, so it speaks to that, and also she's leveling up so much in her growth and how she spars and all these things in these chapters, and also someone sees you for who you are, you violent little thing, and loves you. You know what I mean? I just so it's like just a great moment.
Yep, my rose was also the first kiss, and I feel like Ashley very well covered all of my reasons as well.
I'm sorry.
No sorry necessary. You say it beautifully. So let's do thorns. What are we thinking this week, y'all?
So my thorn was the whole Liam family connection still having no conclusion, especially now that Liam is dead. It feels like it has to be leading somewhere, but I don't really get where it's leading because Liam is gone at the end of this book.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe it was just putting that in there to trick us into thinking he wouldn't die because he'd be too important of a character, maybe if we had all that information.
Yeah.
Or maybe she's doing it because Sloane obviously does come into the story. It's still useful to us kind of as a reader. I don't know.
But we get a different Mari.
Yeah, we do. It's just like such weird specific information. The whole like interaction where she's like, no, your dad wasn't killed from the executions. And he's like, what are you talking about? It's also awkward. Like
it's agonizingly awkward to where she's like, oh, hey,
and then she's like, wait, should we change the subject? Maybe we should change the subject. This is why am I bringing this up to him?
Yeah, totally.
What are your
Mine once more is Dain being offended and acting like a toddler yet again, especially at Montserrat.
Yeah. I mean, look, I actually didn't even write a thorn in here because it feels Dain is a pain in the ass most of the time. I also really don't like that. I just wanted to shake Xaden so much and be like, stop withholding.
Fair.
Very fair.
But yeah, I just have so many more buds, so many things I'm looking forward to that, you know, obviously, we're not trimming shit, right, guys?
No,
nope.
I think we've already decided there's
no
trims for the entire series.
No trims. But tons of buds.
So many buds.
Let's talk about him.
Yeah.
My bud is, we quoted it during Threads of Theory about the description of the way that magic really affects their body and how it really fuses with their soul. It feels like actually really deep foreshadowing of the end of the series of how they're going to solve the problem with the venom, because we know magic likes everything in balance. And basically the reason the venom exists is because the writers exist and vice versa.
Yeah.
And so you almost want to conclude that the only way to get rid of the venom is to get rid of the writers. But how are you going to do that when we know now from Fourth Wing's description of how the magic has bonded with her body? How is that going to be part of the story? Is it going to be part of the story? It's just interesting to me. I'm really excited to see where that's all going, because I feel like we got a little bit of it in Onyx Storm too, of like, you know, and Darna taking her bond away and bringing it back and all of those things. But I'm just really excited to see more about how magic actually affects their body and their bonds and how all that plays out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Totally.
as a series, that's a really wonderful.
Yeah.
But I mean, for this section of chapters, it's the lightning for me, right? And Taryn's roar. We really do end this chunk of chapters that we're talking about on the highest of high notes, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
For this specific chunk of chapters, it's major lightning, and then you kind of go back and you understand all of the hints and the breadcrumbs and the things that she just didn't know that was, you know, her gift. And I think on a first read, not many people knew that was her as well. So I think it's just an epic moment, obviously.
Totally agree. So my bud is 2-part, but with one quote. Okay.
Love.
So the quote is, "His sadistic grin and red rim around his eyes are all I can see as he forces more and more power into my body, but his hands are occupied and he's too obsessed with his victory to hear that I've stopped screaming, to see that I'm moving." And then she says, "I shove the vial against Jack's smile so hard, I feel one of his teeth break." And I love this so much, because this is where now on a reread, we know that this description is Venom. And I love the fact that Violet finally gets to hand Jack fucking Barlow his ass.
Yeah. Bye.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
I love it.
Bye.
And also, we just see how much comes out of both of these different parallels going forward in the books.
So good.
We have shared the love, and now let's share the delusion, because obviously we get to cast the adaptation. So, welcome to our casting call.
Woo.
Woo! And I'm just going to give it a little note, because for all of those who do not know this, but they are actually making Fourth Wing into a TV show as we speak. And a little update on where they are on that. They recently lost their showrunner and are searching for a new one. They're already in talks with someone else. And it sounds as it's unconfirmed but confirmed that they're pretty much in the casting process.
Mm-hmm.
And Rebecca Yarros has said she has read the first 2 episodes, and for it being her baby, she's absolutely in love with the script. It keeps everything that we love. It's amazing. She could not say more amazing things about it, which as the author, I feel like really says a lot. So I think we're all going to be super happy, with how the TV show comes out. And for those who also don't know, it's being done by Amazon Studios, and hopefully we will have it in the next 2 years, fingers crossed.
My goodness.
There's no the dates, but just knowing how involved this show is, I imagine around 2 years would be when we would get it if they're casting right now. So yeah, let's jump into who we think they should cast and who is also rumored to be casted already.
Yeah.
So now, as a preface, I did not know anybody that they were potentially rumored to cast. So there's a little interesting one in here that Alex showed me.
Yeah, so let's start with Xaden. So there's only rumored casting for Xaden and Violet so far, and it's very rumored, and I'll tell you why it's rumored. For Xaden, Josh Houston is rumored to be cast, and it's because he's basically rumored it himself. For those who don't know,
he's manifesting.
It's kind of amazing, actually, the shit he's pulling off. He posts dragon emojis and all of these things, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, he's reading for Fourth Wing. He's reading for Xaden." Blah blah. So he's definitely manifesting it for himself. The studios have said absolutely nothing.
Yeah, of course not.
And it's very funny, honestly. If it works, great for him. Genius move, man. To the point where he's been asked on current red carpets about Fourth Wing and his casting for Xaden, even though nothing from the studio has ever come out. That's how much he has pushed himself for this role, which is amazing.
Hey, it will be amazing to see how this plays out for sure.
Yeah. That being said, because I've known he's been rumored to cast in it for so long at this point that I had a really hard time imagining someone else playing the role who wasn't him. Yeah. Because also, there aren't that many people out there who are attractive enough to play Xaden, who are the right look and physical everything. Rebecca Yarros has said without a doubt that Xaden is a person of color. She will not say what that means other than that, because she does not want to narrow or limit the casting process in any way. which has pissed off some fans I've seen, that they really wish that she would say how she imagined him. But
She
as some
gives pretty vivid descriptions, though.
she does. And I would also like to point out that you can't say someone is Hispanic in a world where there are no Hispanic people.
Yeah.
Those countries don't exist in her
Yeah.
world. So, like, how else is she going to describe these people when she's talking about skin tones and stuff in relation to us?
Honey.
So, like, yeah. So, like, for her to come out and say, like, oh, he's this would be very weird to me.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it takes you out of the world. This is.
It does. It takes you out of the world
not
completely.
This world, you guys. There's no dragons flying around. There's no Terrans. Like,
I wish. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw a dragon fly by at any moment. But that being said, I think he would be really great for the role. The other person I thought would be good is Felix Mallard. The only issue I have even with me choosing him is I don't know that he's a person of color. I couldn't find. He's one of those like kind of like ambiguous looking people where you don't know what he is. And everywhere on the internet just says he's Australian. And I don't think he has dark enough skin to play Xaden, but I think he has the bone structure.
He certainly does.
and the broodingness.
The jaw.
Yes. And the brooding aspect. If you've watched Ginny and Georgia, he's very brooding on that show.
He is. He is very
show.
brooding.
Yes. So what do you guys think about Xaden?
I mean, Josh is perfect.
Yeah, he's pretty perfect.
For Xaden. And honestly, when I was reading the book, this is exactly what I picture. So yeah, that's it for me.
It's a pretty good casting, to be honest.
Yeah, he's it.
Okay, so
Allie.
I may be pronouncing his name wrong, so I apologize if I am. Lucian Laviscount.
Luce, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He is
He's
from
so hot.
Emily in Paris. If you haven't seen him, you should.
So
okay, here's the thing. He is 6 foot. He has smoldering intensity. He has the sculpted features. He has expressive eyes. If he grew out his curls a little bit, I feel like he would be just a near match. But also, Xaden needs to feel very dangerous and also like emotionally complex, especially in those brutal and intimate scenes with Violet. And Lucian, in my opinion, has the protective intensity, but it doesn't overshadow. And it matches her, I feel like. And I totally believe that he would die for her, but also drive her absolutely insane.
I love it.
So yeah,
I mean, I'm not mad at that casting.
No, I love Luce. He's the best. So I cast him in everything, honestly.
Yeah,
Truly.
and that body. I mean, he's got the Xaden body.
Yeah, I know. He's so
I know. Like, how many abs do you have, sir?
all of them.
How many abs exist on the human body?
He has all of them.
Let me count. No, so who do we think for Violet, you guys?
So for Violet, I'll say that the rumored casting is Mackenzie Foy. For those who don't know who that is, she is the girl who is now grown up but played the little girl Renesmee in Twilight. It's literally just a rumor. She hasn't been egging on as far as I know in any way, the way that Josh has. So hers actually might have more merit to it because it seems to have come out of like nowhere. But that is who's rumored. I don't know. I like see it, but I also am kind of like on it.
Sure.
So for me, I really liked Daisy Edgar Jones. For those who don't know who she is, she's in Normal People and Where the Crawdads Sing. I think she has such amazing emotional intensity. And I mean, she's just an incredible actress. She's amazing. The only problem I even have with myself with casting her is that she's too tall to play Violet. But as we know, when it comes to filming and movies, it's actually hard to film the type of dynamic in terms of height that Xaden and Violet have, in terms of like fitting them both in a camera angle together.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to have to maybe fudge that for the series anyway.
I think so.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to be able to have the big height difference that they do in the books. It's honestly not that important to the story. What do you guys?
I don't know if you guys watched the Winx saga, but Abigail Cohen, I think, is a good one. She's
also in Sabrina.
Oh, she is? I haven't watched that.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah,
I cast her for When the Moon Hatched.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So I don't know. I think she could.
She fits into the world beautifully.
I think she fits into the world. And yeah.
I chose Sophie Thatcher. She is from Yellow Jackets and Companion. I love her because I feel like Violet's sarcasm and wit are part of her like survival toolkit. And Sophie nails that like wry, detached delivery, but always manages to sneak in vulnerability into her performances. And I feel like she brings this simmering, unpredictable intensity that would serve Violet as a character so well, especially in the high stakes moments. Also, okay, so she's 5'3" and Lucian is 6 foot, so it does kind of give that dynamic.
Yeah, that's fair.
I did try to really make a point to cast people that were in their 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard because for some reason there aren't that many young 20s actors that are like right now. For some reason, it feels like it's like where are all the teen shows? They've like
It
disappeared.
feels like that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like Euphoria and that's it.
Yeah, like where are all the teen shows that used to give us all of this like young talent and the teen rom-coms? I feel like
Yeah.
there just aren't that many of them
Yep.
right now.
Yep.
Okay, so for Dain, I actually really love my pick, and I think he would love my pick because he is not secret at all at how much he loves romantasy and has read Fourth Wing and Akatar. But I chose Dylan Efron. To me, he's like the perfect like boy next door, could be irritating, but also you might fall in love with him later on in the series, which is exactly what Dain is. He's already built. He's got that kind of face where I feel like he could play someone who could be really irritating, like you want to punch them, but also like 2 minutes later, you could also be so in love with them because of how attractive he is. You know what I mean? He just has like that perfect balance of boy next door, but am I in love with you or are you irritating? With that Dain is.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
Okay, so this was the funny one. So I actually cast Josh Houston as Dain Atos.
Which is so funny.
That is wild. So I kind of picture him because he is, as you said, that boy next door, but he's also like that morally conflicted officer on the surface, but clean cut.
That's so funny
honorable.
you see him as boy next door, though. I don't see him as boy next door at all.
Me either.
I don't
like, he is way too broody to be boy next door.
Boy next door? What are you?
I'm like, who are you living next to?
Yeah, where do you live? Let me live there.
I don't know, but also like I think too, I just feel like he has that polished but commanding presence. He's tall, he's fit, he's put together, especially in Dune. So yeah, I don't know. And he's perfectly right in the middle for height between Violet and my Xaden casting. So he's below Xaden but above Violet. So yeah, I don't know. That's so funny. Maybe it's also just how I'm picturing him when I'm reading.
That's
could be
wild because that's who I picture as our daddy.
Yeah, I personally don't picture him as Dain, but like, I mean, I love your defending of your choice. So
yeah, hey, we all are entitled. Mine is Ansel Elgort. I think would be good.
I could definitely want to punch him and love him at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he has that like entitled golden boy energy that I really just want to slap him across the face. But I also understand why growing up he might seem really attractive and a hot guy. He's like very believable as a first crush, but like not the type of man I would go for later in life, but I could see it's,
totally agree. Yeah.
I think he like physically fits the role. But some people might find him as their like 10 out of 10. And some people might find him as like, ugh, he's like so entitled and whatever, which is what I feel like the arc that we go through. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my guy.
All right. The last person we're going to cast for this, we're going to do one extra than normal just because this book series has so many characters and it's just way too fun.
Yeah.
We're going to cast Liam because this is like the only book we could cast him in, sadly. And he's very important. I immediately picture Lucas Till playing Liam. Like, there is no one else to me that looks more like Liam than Lucas. Yeah. Obviously, he is a little on the older side to play him, but he has such a baby face. I think he could get away with it.
Yeah.
Because he has the dimples. He has the blonde hair, blue eyes. He has, like, in any movie you've ever seen him in, he's always got that, like, flirty attitude that is so Liam.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the picture that you have here for him in your description, and I'm like, oh my god,
I could see it.
Perfect. Yeah,
definitely.
I can.
Ashley,
see it
who'd you pick?
I mean, well now I'm looking at Alex's pick, and I'm like, what? Lucas Till is perfect. I was thinking Drew Starkey from Outer Banks would be a good choice. I feel like he has this brooding protector vibe, but is still giving big brother energy, giving like has a backstory there that you kind of want to know more about. His smile is really cute. So it's just kind of like he can play wounded but noble really well.
Yeah,
That's what I think.
I could see it.
I back it.
Great.
I went with Logan Schroyer. He was on This Is Us, and he already has the blue eyes, so no contacts needed. He's 6 foot, has a strong build. He has the distinct nose, I feel like, that they talk about in the book. And also Liam isn't flashy. He's not the brooding bad boy. He's not even the boy next door flirt. And so he's just a solid one.
Yeah.
And he listens to you. He stands between you and danger. And I feel like Logan kind of radiates that same quiet but grounded energy. And there's a sincerity to his presence. And I feel like that's very Liam at his core.
Yeah. Great.
Great. I think that wraps up our casting call.
Yeah.
Yeah, great choices, guys.
Yeah. So fun.
I love this for us.
Anyway.
And that's a wrap on chapters 21 through 28 of Fourth Wing, aka the section where the plot thickens, the romance sizzles, and Violet Sorrengail fully starts stepping into her power.
Next week, we're closing out Fourth Wing with our final episode covering chapters 29 through 39. And trust us, it's a hell of a finale. Secrets are exposed, bonds are tested, and the ending? Yeah, prepare to scream.
And just because Fourth Wing is ending doesn't mean we're slowing down. In August, we're diving straight into Iron Flame. You do not want to miss it.
So make sure you're subscribed, following, and fully strapped in because this Empyrean ride is only getting wilder.
Catch you next week for the grand finale.
Saucy
Saucy
Scribes
Scribes
out!